Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we'll be reviewing a supernatural horror
legal
drama that is called The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
It was in 2005.
So this is a new one because it's sort of based on a true
It's
event.
based on a true event. Obviously, their names have been changed to protect the guilty, protect the innocent, whatever.
The people. But other than that, the story remains a little bit the same.
Well, it's based on a real situation, in a real court case. But obviously, Hollywood does romanticise things a tad and change things. So when I say they base it on something, it doesn't mean it's a biodrama.
Some people often...
There's a bit of poetic license in here, I believe.
Everyone often, whoever looks at a movie that's based off true events, they keep thinking every single thing about it is true, even though most of it could be fictional or fantasy because they want to make it sound good.
Well, it's like the original Dracula book, Nosferatu, and all that sort of stuff. It was based on Vlad the Impaler, who was a prince of Wallachia, and he was a bloodthirsty man, and all the tales came out about his bloodthirsty ways, and they converted that into vampirism and stuff. So you can't get the truth get in the way of a good story.
Exactly. A lot of people keep making that mistake, and therefore making themselves look like they're not really
silly bunnies.
Silly. Anyway, time to get into it. Who directs, produce, and what's the box office money?
Who were the culprits? There we go. Produced by Tom Rosenberg, Gary Lachese, Paul Harris Boardman, whatever, Trip Vinson, and Beau Flynn. Written by Scott Dickinson, Paul Harris Boardman. He's got three names. And directed by Scott Derrickson. Okay, Scott Derrickson. That's an interesting name, isn't it? What else? Money. I love money.
You're not the only one.
Show me the money. Okay, right. Okay, here we go. Budget was 19 mil. Wait for it. Box office 145 mil. There you go then. Wasn't a bad movie, and that's only box office. That doesn't include the home
media, DVDs and videos that released.
The domestic market stuff. So, this means a couple of the actors, not all of them. There's only three main actors that really revolves around. Here we go. Okay, Laura Linney plays Erin Christine Brunner.
Remember her name, guys.
She is, what you call Erin, she's a nice lady. She's a defence attorney for the next person. Tom Wilkinson plays Father Richard Moore. He's accused of being instrumental in the death of a young lady during an exorcism. And Jennifer Carpenter plays Emily Rose, who was a lady girl who was a subject of a demon possession.
Yes.
How's that? Right. I think I covered it. I won't go through the prosecuting attorneys and the judges and the mummies and daddies and stuff. It really centers around these three people.
It's mostly about them and the events that take place in this courtroom and in the past tense. In the past.
Whatever.
So, anyway, do you want me to dive into the story?
I can't think of anything else. Like I said, it is based on a real story, but that's all it is. It is not a biodrama, okay? So, obviously it's being some parts have been,
like the stuff you'll find
with a bit,
will be played with to extend the story along. Anyway, and keep the audience
like Alf isn't real. He's a puppet,
Well, that's not the same thing, Mike.
Well, it is.
Anyway,
there are aliens out there.
Yeah, true. But you guys meant that. Anyway, so moving on. So I'll get stuck into the story itself. The story begins where we see some coroners are examining the dead body of Emily Rose. Policemen are there, a doctor is there to examine the body, and they notice Father Moore is there, and they want to take him in for questioning and to take him in for jail purposes because they think he contributed to the death of Emily Rose.
Yes.
So, anyway, we then cross over to the lawyer's office, who they're trying to figure out whether he is guilty, and most of them are wondering, okay, well, we'll hire this guy to be the prosecutor, who is a big Christian or whatever nuts he is. I mean,
No.
well, Christian. I mean, he says he's religious, so...
No, look, he's not a Roman Catholic. He's a Presbyterian or something.
Presbyterian or whatever.
Yeah, so he said, I'm good. I go to church on Sunday. Well, he was chosen because he was seen to be a good, upstanding man in the community.
Yeah.
So instead of getting an atheist going against the priest. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway... Erin name is, she's assigned to be the
defense attorney.
Defense attorney for Father Moore, obviously.
Yeah.
And of course, the guy in charge of tells her you must not let him tell his story, because if he wants a chance of getting a plea bargain or something like that, he might. Then again,
they're making out that if they let him talk too much, he might hang himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it would probably not look good for his church in particular, because it would pin the blame on them for
his actions.
But
he did get permission from the local hierarchy in the church to conduct the exorcism.
Yeah. Some of the so you guys know. These people who have to conduct the exorcisms and stuff, they have to appeal to the highest members of the church.
Yeah, to go local bishops and cardinals or bishops probably and say, hey, I've got to do that. And say, does it meet the right criteria? And said, yeah, okay, go to do it, but be careful. Yeah. And he did everything right.
Yeah. Anyway, so Aaron goes to Father Moore, and they discuss things, and he wants to tell he wants to tell Emily's story.
Yeah.
And even though they object to it, but they eventually turn around because their case is not ruling in their favor, as it turns out. Even after interviewing the father, the boyfriend, the mother, and they also interviewed a few doctors.
But the doctors weren't witnesses.
No, they weren't.
The family were witnesses, but they were considered to be non-educated, and they didn't understand the medical side of things.
Yeah,
they were led by the priest.
And the prosecutor, he kind of digged into their stuff. Stuff they don't really know about. Like he thinks it's a epileptic fit.
Yeah, he thought the girl could have been something epilepsy or something or other.
Epilepsy.
But as far as I'm aware about epilepsy, way they keep carrying on about this, it doesn't go on for hours and hours and days and days and days. And you get a seizure and you get okay and takes medicine, you're okay. A friend of mine had epilepsy all life, and so another person who had epilepsy, they had a normal life, they took little drugs, and they had the odd episode here and there, but nothing like this.
Yeah. So, anyway, so we drive back to the back street to Emily. We hear she goes to university. And when her roommate was away, and she suddenly gets woken at 3 o'clock in the morning. The witching hour.
The witching hour. The real witching hour. Not midnight.
Yeah, and she sees a cup moving on its own, and then she hears something out in the hallway, and smells the stove, or the stove.
Smoke or something.
Smoke.
Yeah.
I kind of one time, Mike, smelt something like that when it was, I don't know what time it was, but I know it was not, I wasn't sure if it was 3 o'clock or
knowing you would have been late.
Yeah.
You never get a bit early. So.
Yeah, anyway, she eventually, something comes into the room with her and starts crawling on top of her. And
pushing her into the bed.
Pushing her in the bed. And started tearing at her, well, not tearing, he actually pulls at her clothes.
Yes.
And
starts to strangle her too, wasn't it?
Yeah, try force her mouth open. It was like looking at a rape. Yeah.
Almost.
Almost like a rape.
Looked like, assault, rape.
Yeah. Anyway,
all the above. Yeah.
Soon enough, she goes outside and she actually talks to, I guess, a teacher and tells about what she experienced. She then goes to the hospital, the nearby hospital, I don't know where. She goes to it, but she becomes more vulnerable because of the drugs they give her.
Some sort of drug they give her, which doesn't help the demon possession part, because they're treating the wrong cause.
Yeah, because the drugs make her brain go to sleep.
A bit sluggish.
It's sluggish.
Yeah.
If you know anything about drugs, you know that they would not make your brain sharp.
Yeah, they mentioned the name of the drug. I can't remember what it was called. I was going to check into it and see if it was a real drug, but yeah. Is there some sort of sedative type thing that suppresses the brain activity so it doesn't get overactive?
Yeah, anyway, this kind of makes her vulnerable to the demons, and they come starting attacking at full force on her and her body. And then later on, she's at school, she's eating the pills that's recommended by her doctors, and it's preventing her from eating. Yeah. And preventing her, and she doesn't like the sounds like from in the food court,
the
cafeteria.
Noise. They become very sensitive to him. Oh yeah, here it is. She was being treated for. Here we go. She was being treated with medication for epilepsy and psychosis. Yeah, so the medications were aimed at that sort of stuff.
The psychiatrists think that it's both epilepsy and he thinks it's another mental thing, but if the drugs weren't working on her because she had the epileptic is not working, the pills, then it could have been something else. That's what Aaron explains to him. Like, you could be treating the wrong thing. And he won't admit to the fact that you may have just treated her with the wrong kind of medication, stuff like that.
Misdiagnosed what was wrong with her. Yeah. He was looking for natural causes.
Another doctor suggests that he would have morphined her and forced the pills down her throat.
What a nice doctor.
And
great bedside manner.
I think, in my mind, in this scene, we got the wrong person going to jail. At this point, in my mind.
Yeah, it sounds like the doctor should have gone to jail. But anyway.
Because by the sounds of it, he sounds like he would have gone arrested.
He would have sold her and she would have died in the hospital.
Yeah, and his medical license would be taken off him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we then find out that she's with her boyfriend. He comes back to her room to look after her, and then she kind of ends up wandering around and starts hissing at him and stuff like that. And looking very perplexed, he takes her home, where her father and her mother and her sisters are waiting for her. And there she as the father arrives eventually, and he sees that she's nibbling on spiders and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, as I said before, she has not eaten. The demons won't let her.
Well, it won't eat normal food. No. You ever been Renfield in Dracula?
Yeah, well, I think the bugs and the spiders were her last chance of survival, and she could not... if the demons won't let her eat normal food, that's the only source of nourishment left.
Yeah, but protein, yeah.
Anyway, so they tried to gather evidence. They actually go and approach... an actual person who's a spiritualist who knows a bit about how exorcism works. She even explains the evidence of why the exorcism that the Father Moore didn't work. Because, as it turns out, the drugs that were still in Emily's system prevented the demons from leaving. Because her brain, aside from the exorcist, the priest has to do the job, obviously. The person, the individual being possessed, has to be the one who has to push the demons out with their mind and their will.
Yeah.
And if her will is weakened by the drugs, she's still a very vulnerable person. Right, Mike?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Poor little girl.
Yeah. Anyway, the prosecutor buries her with this knowledge and even accused her of all sorts of weird stuff, and calling her stuffed babblygook and stuff like that.
Yeah, he did. He was a true non-believer.
Yeah, even though he's a believer of God, but he doesn't
believe in the spiritual side of things.
Yeah. Anyway, we then get revealed that there was a doctor present during the exorcisms thingy, and he wants to testify, even though, At first, I guess he didn't want
He wanted to remain anonymous.
He wanted to remain anonymous, but he realized that Father Moore was in deep danger of probably going to jail and probably never practicing church stuff ever again. Anyway, that's not really important. Well, maybe it isn't. Anyway, he gives her a tape recorder that Father Moore carries on this when they're doing The Exorcist, where we then hear his voice and hear the screaming and yelling of Emily, and we saw a witness in the video of her reactions and behavior, like her speaking in different languages and stuff like that. Of course, the prosecutor keeps saying she must have learnt the stuff, from in church school, stuff like that, and learnt ancient in Greek in her school, whatever, and just flings it off as she's just saying these because it's subconsciously.
Yeah, but the point is, studying a language
especially
doesn't mean you're going to be fluent in it. I mean, when I was at school, I had to do French courses. Never really learnt to speak it properly, but I could get through. I could read a basic book and understand it. It doesn't mean I can actually speak it. I can actually recognise the words.
Yeah. Anyway, the prosecutor thinks that she's just naturally speaking.
She's very gifted, and she knows all these languages,
but
and she just
if she's groggy with the pills and stuff, that will
it'll be hard.
It will be hard to pronounce. If you're speaking gobbledygook, you'll probably be speaking anything.
Well, gobbledygook, but in funny languages.
Yeah, and also we discover that there was probably 6 demons lurking inside her. We don't know, but he says it is. And even says the final one was the devil. I'm not sure because the devil never even gets mentioned.
But demons lie.
Yeah. Anyway, the exorcism doesn't work, and we later on, Emily is taken to her room and sleeps for hours and hours.
And
then we get... this is where we get more information from Father Moore, who explains what happened. And he explains the fact that Emily Rose didn't want to do it again for a second time.
Didn't want to go for another round of exercising rights, yeah.
She also wrote him a letter before she died, where it explains, after the exorcism, the failed exorcism, she woke to someone calling out her name, and she wanders out into into the garden, and there she kind of has a near-body experience. Out-of-body experience. Yeah. There she sees the Virgin Mary, who tells her that she asks the Virgin Mary, "Will these demons leave me?" And she says, "No. The demons will not leave you." And she goes on to say, "We'll be gladly take you to paradise now, if you like." And then she also mentions the possibility if she stays in her body, she can show the whole entire world that God isn't dead, but
and
still
there isn't
alive.
evil out there.
And by showing the world the devil.
Yeah.
Of course, like that. This, according to Father Moore, he thinks this is a sign that God God sees her as a saint.
Yeah.
And
she had a lot of stigmata marks on her hands and feet, and he said, that could have been done by barbed wire on the nearby fencing. Yeah.
What about her feet? Technically,
she could be jumping up down the foot on the fence as well.
I mean, I understand if it was in the hands, if she got barbed wire cutting her hands.
I'm not 100% sure about the wounds of stigmata, okay? I always thought about the hands and the feet, but part of the stigmata, I believe, is the wound in the side as well, where the spear has been reported to us. Poke Jesus just under the rib cage.
Yeah, anyway.
Now, wait a minute. So would that mean she'd actually have to hit a barbed wire fence having holes in each palm of the hand.
And don't forget the
feet,
forehead.
and then the side and different things. And hello.
Yeah.
What you do, roll in the barbed wire?
Yeah. Also, you're forgetting, Mike, which most people forget. You're forgetting the crown of thorns that will lead markings on her forehead.
I didn't forget that. I just say, but the marks on
Yeah.
the barbed wire fence will have to
So
do the hands, the feet, and the side and everything.
So the prosecutor has no clue about stigmata. Like,
He didn't go to Sunday school, folks.
because he probably doesn't realize that, okay, say she did put her hands on the barbed wire to make a fake stigmata. How are you going to do that with your feet? How are you going to do that with your side, like Mike said?
Yeah.
How are you going to really pierce your forehead? No doubt she could bend over and pierce
But why?
it there. But why? What would the point?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Anyway, Father Moore thinks this is a sign from above telling the world that she is going to be a saint someday. But of course, the prosecutor blames it on his makes it up, stuff like that, and continues to think that this is all supernatural stuff. Oh, I should mention, guys, while our cases continues, off scene, both the father Moore and his lawyer, they experience some supernatural occurrences.
Yeah, just 3 o'clock in the morning, things are happening around them and stuff.
He sees in his jail cell.
And actually, that other doctor who was going to be called as witness, we think he was being attacked by demons, and he walked in front of a car because he was scared.
Yeah. Anyway, Father Moore, he continues to see a black hooded figure. And of course he scares it away with his prayers.
Yeah.
And his lawyer, she experiences it too. She smells the smoke.
Yeah.
And she also hears some weird stuff, like doors opening and closing. And at one point, it spooks her. And of course, in one scene, we see her turning her alarm clock around so to not look at the 3 o'clock on it.
Yep.
We also, much later when she's walking in the streets, she's actually comes across a locket which has her first initials, like her first name, her second name, and her last name.
ECB.
Yeah.
It was on it.
See, as I told you before, remember her name, guys.
Yeah, and she found laying in the snow in front of where she was walking.
Yeah. This might be a sign from above telling her that she's on the right track.
Yeah.
And
so put this thing on and wear it for safety.
As a bit of a safety, thingy-wing. Anyway, at the final part of the case, the prosecutor and the lawyer, both lawyers say their final words, saying... The prosecutor goes on, the closing statements while he goes on about how he's religious, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm religious, and I don't deny that there might be things out there we can't explain, okay? Anyway, so she goes up, and she expresses the act of believing in something.
Yeah.
Not doubting, because she often said to the jury guys that not to doubt, to believe, to continue believing, and stuff like that, and not always believe the facts. The facts may not
be factual.
Yeah.
Is it 100% for sure, or is there room for doubt?
Yeah. And she does believe. I think she is starting to believe.
Is she self as agnostic or something?
Yeah, she's a non-believer, and stuff like that. And I think, thanks to this case, it's kind of opening her eyes a little bit. Anyway, soon enough, the jury makes their decision, and they say the father Moore is guilty. And
the other guy, the prosecuting attorney, should have been a happy chappy.
But
until they gave him up for recommendation, which was...
Meaning, just the term that during the jail time he was spending when they were doing the court thing.
His penalty would be the sentence served. So... He might have been in jail for a couple of months, and that was his penalty, so he could actually leave the court as a free man. He wouldn't have to go to jail.
Of course, the funny thing...
And that annoyed the prosecuting attorney.
He even objected to the jury making this final plea.
And the judge was getting really short of him by the time, so he pretty much shut up,
Yeah, I was about to say... when we watched the movie...
He got his way. He got a conviction.
Yeah.
What more does the man want?
I think he just wants him thrown in jail and be the person who's right and have his name in the newspapers.
Well,
the end.
He would have been.
Yeah. Anyway, he probably wants him in jail. That's his way of thinking he's won and the other one lost.
Yeah.
Anyway, soon enough, Eugene gets approached by her partner, who says that he wants to make her a full partner to his law firm and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, wait. We'll go back. At the beginning of the show, she's had a successful case, and he was hinting at making her a partner.
Pushing for it.
In the firm if she takes this case on and wins it.
And he did.
Right? He said, but he didn't like the way she was handling it, and during the court case, he was threatening her, saying, if you stop this up, you won't have a job here.
Yeah.
And now he's going, you did really, really good. You were about the partnership.
Yeah, and now she's decided to
And
not.
then she just says, nah, not interested, which would indicate she might be looking to go elsewhere because she didn't have support of the people in her own firm.
Yeah, so she may easily find another one thanks to the media circus.
And more money.
Yeah. Anyway, she and Father Moore, they actually head to Emily Rose's grave, and there we see the epitaph on Emily Rose's grave that says
Some religious thing.
something about finding salvation in fear and trembling, something.
Yeah,
I don't know what it means, but that's what Emily
something,
Rose said before she died.
Yeah.
Anyway, we then fade to black, where we hear about what happens next. We find out that Father Moore, he's what happened with him again?
I can't remember.
He was
he didn't want to go back to work in Paris. He sort of he's such a feeble.
Yeah, he went to recluse, whatever.
Recluse, yeah.
And the lawyer, obviously, she gets, I guess, a new law firm, and she actually hands over the files to a writer who writes about the Keller case, and I guess it inspires the Exorcist movie, I think. And as for Emily Rose, who's long dead, her grave has practically become a monument for...
the real grave, the real grave.
The real grave,
in reality,
the
real person is based on. Yeah.
The real grave site of her is become a monument for people to realize about the possibilities, and she has achieved her goal of becoming a saint in the end for those who realize that she crossed over to a spiritual world and therefore brought new things to the light, gave us a window into what could the possibilities.
Maybe, yeah.
And then we fade to black and the credits start to roll. They end. I gotta admit, guys, I did look up the case, and there was another movie that was based on this story. Of course, there's no conclusion whether it was epilepsy or a real possession, obviously. I do also think...
Here it is. The original person was Emily Michelle. And that's her story of being possessed and going through what our little lady did in the movie. So Annalise, Annelise, Michelle, Michel. If you look her up in Wikipedia or something or other, you might get some information. But she was
I think that I think in Emily Rose, the reason she was attacked was because she was a vulnerable individual.
It's
right,
spiritually sensitive, has that? I think.
Yeah, and of course, some people who are really anxious could be targeted, obviously, and Emily was probably naturally one of them. Obviously, I did think that I don't think it was right when they accused the priest, thinking that the exorcism is the result of her being malnutritious and dying from that malnutrited stuff.
Malnutrition,
that was probably another cause. Aside from being possessed, she probably starved herself and died that way.
The demons weren't letting her eat for some reason or other. Anyway, irrespective. Okay, all that good groovy stuff.
See, I don't think it was the exorcism that was to be blamed, because exorcisms are mostly there to purify a person.
That sort of stuff.
That's not to do with the scars, the injuries. No doubt, not the infliction of exorcism, stuff like that. That's usually something else.
Yeah. Anyway, right.
And of course, like I said about the other movie that was sort of based around the girl's exorcism stuff and the demon possession, there is no proof whether or not it was either an epileptic fit or the fact she's possessed. There's no real evidence about it.
Either way, so yeah.
Yes.
But, however...
And the parts about where they often mention the fact she mumbled or spoke in tongues.
Yeah, but there's also wasn't speaking in tongues.
Okay,
The
lawyer, prosecutor said that.
He might have been. He throws a cast a throwaway line. She was speaking in several languages and she was actually speaking two different languages at the same time as well. Yeah, little things like that.
Yeah, he also said that something about her speaking different tones or different,
Yeah, it was saying different tones, different voices, and two voices at the same time and stuff. Yeah, he made something about it. We have two sets of vocal cords. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard that one before.
Me neither. I think
you might have two different vocal ranges actually in there, which could generate at the same time.
I guess most of the time, the people who do use that type of thing is when you're either learning to be a ventriloquist.
No, I don't think they use that.
Because you can probably do something like that.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
I never put it to the test.
No, we don't want to go there, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know how to get some either. Yeah. Anyway, do you want to try and talk about something now, or are you just going to keep talking?
Okay, Mike, you
go
for it.
Goody. Yeah. Okay, right. Critical reception. I won't go through all of them. But basically, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a reasonably good review, like 44% based on 157 reviews.
Goody.
So that's about average, okay? Then you got Roger Ebert.
I have him.
Yeah, he's about Chicago Sun-Times. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars, describing it as intriguing and perplexing. And writing that the screenplay is intelligent and open to occasional refreshing wit.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 is not bad.
I guess that's not too bad.
For him, that's pretty good, yeah. Other people's, go 3 out of 5 stars and other things, and some. So it depends. Some of the guys liked it, and some of the guys didn't like it. It's one of those movies that if you're not into this sort of movie, you're not going to rate it right.
The movie does come off very dark, guys.
It is, yeah.
I mean, you always feel like you're never alone when you're watching this movie. Like, if you're alone in the house, you never know what might be out there just waiting inside the room or outside the house.
Now,
that's the thing about this movie. That's what really creeps me out. And I often think, this is a movie you should not watch alone.
Now, hang on. No. In 2006, the Chicago Film Critics Association listed the film in their top 100 scariest films ever made at number 86. Okay, now that's not a high rating, and I don't think it was that horrific. However, this is their reasoning. Jennifer Carpenter, the girl who played the girl who's possessed,
Emily Rose,
whose demonic bodily contortions were often achieved without the aid of visual effects.
Ooh.
Won the best frightened performance at the MTV Movie Awards in 2006. So it was done with very little special effects. It was done with makeup and a very, very talented young lady called Jennifer Carpenter doing the possessed girl. She didn't have her head go around 360 degrees like in The Exorcist. What she did was very believable and out of control, like a deranged person and possessed. So she did a really good job.
Yeah.
Very convincing.
I was telling Mike this not too long ago, that, how do we know in mental institutes and stuff like that whether a person how many patients in mental institute may have been mistakenly thought may have been not possessed by, by demons.
We
and
can't
stuff.
take that one.
That's true.
We can't take that one. Hello.
I also said to Mike, there was this distinct possibility when people who sleepwalk may conduct murders sometimes.
Well, I've heard about things, what's the word? Somnambulist. They sleepwalk and they do things in their sleep. They could kill somebody or attack somebody or rob a bank or do something really weird, and next morning remember nothing of what happened the previous night. So yeah, I believe that does happen in some very, very rare cases. But yeah. He was like, I don't recall doing it.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
And despite the coroner telling them you got your fingerprints all over the knife or all over the gun or whatever.
I don't know how they got there. I've never seen that before. Well, there you go. So there's a good possibility something like that can happen, but not often, folks.
Yeah, and the big problem is when you do finally go to court over it, and they say you definitely did this, and we have the finger evidence all over the whatever.
And we're recording on CCTV, and you use your credit card and everything else. You must have been there. Yeah. So it's really hard to get out and you don't remember it. So what do? You can't defend yourself.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
You can't lie your way out of it, you know.
Yeah, and those people could easily go to jail and for a crime they didn't even know they committed.
Wow. I won't talk too much. That's because it is what it is. But
it is.
It says it's a horror movie. It's supernatural horror. It's more supernatural and legal drama to me, but it's got horrific bits in it, especially with doing the exorcism part. It's a good watch. If you're looking for cheap thrills like a slasher film, I'd probably say not your sort of movie. But if you're looking for a really, really good movie, which is okay, that's fine. It's got a court case going on and flashbacks to the exorcism and stuff. If you like that sort of stuff, it's not a bad watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to admit though, it was interesting what the information that was passed through. Even though most of the time in these Lloyd movies and shows, they would often twist the facts to fit the crime, so to speak.
Yeah. Who was that?
Like the prosecutor, he would no doubt be the bully.
His job is to get a conviction.
Yeah.
And the defence attorney is there to get the person off. Now, I don't want to get into the courts. However, here you raised it. When you go into a court of law,
right,
even if there's about 99% chance that you did the crime, your defence attorney is going to say we're going for not guilty. Prove it. It's up to the prosecuting attorney and his team to prove that his client committed the crime, and then it's up to the defence attorney to discredit the witnesses and whatever, and then they find a middle ground there and say, okay, beyond a reasonable doubt, he or she did or did not commit the crime. That's the way it normally works.
I got to admit though, what really interests me in this courtroom scene is when the jury made their final verdict and they said they'll offer him
the penalty is time served. Yeah,
and then the lawyer, the prosecutor, just says, "I object."
But he can't object after the court case has been finished, and his deliberations and everything else, and they're all finished. Based on what he said and what she said and whatever was done, all the witnesses, it's all finished, and so you can't. I don't think he has a right to veto the jury.
Yeah, you cannot veto the jury or the judge.
Yeah, well, I object. You are objectionable.
Yeah. Even the court, even the judge thought you were.
The judge getting really snaky with him by the time.
Yeah, she kind
I wish you weren't here.
Yeah, she practically said to him that to stop being so snarky during the court case.
Yeah, because he had an attitude problem.
Yeah, he was.
Now, honestly, I mean, if it was about flying saucers, he wouldn't have cared less.
Yeah.
Yeah. But because it's something he wanted to get some...
he wanted to be recognised as the
guy who put this priest away. Yeah, and that's not fair. I mean, if it was a killer, an ordinary killer, or somebody robbed the bank or did something or other, or extortion, you wouldn't be that bloodthirsty.
Well, as I said in the past, Mike, lawyers are like sharks.
Well, someone actually told me the patron saint of lawyers is the devil, because the devil never tells the truth, and they try and imply that solicitors and lawyers don't tell the truth either. They're there to fabricate stuff to get the client off.
Yeah, well, it does make sense considering the fact in this case the demons and the devil were trying to stop the truth getting out, and for it's just like Passion of the Christ. In that one, they were trying to stop Jesus from achieving his end goal.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to review that movie.
No, we're not going to review that movie. I mean, even though it's sad, gross, and it's based off real events, I don't think. And in fact, I like the fact that they used
they spoke Aramaic all the way through the movie. Yeah, which is a nice touch of realism.
Which is a nice touch on Mel Gibson's part.
Mel Brooks.
Sorry, it was a slip of the tongue, folks. Anyway, I do think that it was interesting that Mel Gibson was able to put that movie together.
Yeah, and it's a realism that I did it. Anyway, let's get off the religious bit at the moment.
Okay, so let's rate this current movie here.
Where can you get it?
Where we can get it.
Okay, yes. eBay, yes, there's plenty for sale, new and used. Amazon, you can rent it, and you can buy it if you like. I was going to say, look, honestly, it's a good movie. If you like these sort of movies, it's a good movie for your collection. Yeah. It's worth a second look or a third look.
Although some people really would think, why can't we see the demons?
You don't have to see the demon.
Yeah. I mean, we don't see demons.
No, you can't see them. It wasn't about seeing the demons, it was about the court case and the effect it was having on the girl.
Yeah, and affecting the lawyer and the... So you didn't actually have to see the demon.
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to do a demon POV perspective, you can actually have a demon in front of somebody and looking at the camera as if they were looking at the demon and reacting to the camera.
We did see a few scenes where the girl actually sees people on the streets and
their faces were morphed into demon faces and stuff.
Yeah, but I think that's mostly the demons affecting her and causing her to see things that are...
Possibly, yeah.
And stuff. Know. I gotta admit, I did think it was kind of effective, especially when she's in the church and she sees... I think she's got sanctuary there, you know.
Nah, didn't work.
It didn't work. She scares two poor ladies who are probably praying, and she tries to grab for the altar with the cross on it, but her body starts bending back in really weird arcs, and you could not stand up and keep your balance that way. The way she was bent over, that was really good. Yeah, you think that she would have sanctuary inside the church, obviously. Well, you'd like to think so, but anyway. It was a bit sad when... Anyway. I'm going to give it 9, yeah. I'm going to give this movie 9.5 out of 10. I know I say this a lot, but I think it's very effective, and while we didn't see demons or anything like that, but it has a bit of, kept you on tense, kept your blood, pumping, kept you wondering what's going to happen next, and... it keeps you on the edge of your seat, which is even more important because this stuff could naturally happen to anyone out there. So that's that movie, the Exorcism of Emily Rose. So be sure to check it out, like we said. And so that's about it from us. So thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. This is Sarah Stephenson. And Michael. Saying, see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now. Cool. Bye.